Maximals, maximize! Transformers Rise of the Beast released this past weekend in 2023 and is directed by Steven Caple Jr., who has also directed such films like The Land and Creed 2. And this film is starring Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback, and is starring the voices of Peter Cullen, Ron Perlman, Peter Dinklage, Michelle Yeoh, Pete Davidson, John DiMaggio, and Cristo Fernandez, which makes me very happy to learn that he was in this movie, because when I heard his voice, I was like, oh, that is Danny from Ted Lasso, and I just got done binge watching the entire thing, and I love that show. I love that his voice is in here. The year is 1994, and Noah Diaz is a struggling young electrician who is trying to put money on the table and to try to pay medical bills for his little brother. Well, somehow he finds himself wrapped up in a whole bunch of Autobot, Terrorcon, and Maximal end-of-the-world type stuff that causes him to go on an adventure to find this hidden key, and then find this other hidden key to go to the big machine to stop it so that Unicron doesn't show up on the Earth and eat it, and we have Autobots and Maximals teaming up together, kind of, very briefly, to take on the evil people, and it's all world-ending stuff again. Here we are, it's a Transformers movie. Now, I was obsessed with Beast Wars when I was a kid. Every day after school, I believe school got out at like 2:15. By the time I got home, it was 2:30. So I put on Beast Wars, and I watched all 3 seasons of that. And I bought the seasons on DVD when I was in college, and I would watch that over and over and over again. I love that series, and I always hoped that one day we would get to see the Beast Wars characters: Optimus Primal, Rhinox, Air Razor, Tigatron, Cheetor, Rat Trap, to see them in movies one day, because the story of that TV series is quite excellent and would be an amazing, long, extensive franchise to see these characters go from their original forms and then the Transmetal forms, and then going kind of to like a prequel thing with the Ark and the Autobots to the original Transformers series from the 80s. The Beast Wars property has a lot of potential for films, and I hope that after this movie is released, hopefully it's received well, and maybe one day we will get to see a Beast Wars proper movie. Will it happen though? I'm pretty sure it won't. I'm pretty sure they're stuck in their ways of their same design and their same characters and their same plot structure as all the other Transformers films out there. Because in essence, this movie is basically the same thing as the 5 previous Transformers films that we've gotten, and a little bit of Bumblebee in there too. It's kind of similar. Bumblebee was just freaking fantastic with Haley Steinfeld and that little love connection between her and Bumblebee. Here though, I would say this is one of the best Transformers proper films that we've gotten. It's too new for me to tell, but there's definitely a stink that is not here, known as Michael Bay. We don't have women in really tight clothes with their cleavage hanging out because that gets his little willy going. And we don't have explosions and fireworks every 2 seconds like we did in those first 5 Michael Bay films. Here, all the action has a purpose behind it, and the action looks great. It looks crisp. The CGI here is fantastic. The battle scenes and how the camera is panning along Maximus Primal and then going along to Rhinox, following Cheetor for a little bit, and how it just pans, kind of like that Avengers shot from the very first Avengers film when it goes to each character doing their own special thing. It's great stuff. And we actually have a human character that I actually really cared about and I really enjoyed on screen. I love his backstory and the reason why he's going on this hero's adventure. It's not Shia LaBeouf who's just trying to impress a girl and who screams every 5 seconds, or he's not making like some witty comment to someone, oh my god, the freaking nightmares. No, this character finds himself in this situation because he needs to. He needs to go on this adventure to help his family, to help his little brother, and that's a commendable thing to see anyone do, let alone a character in a movie. So for him to be like, yeah, no, I'm going with you, you're not going to go without me, like, yeah, dude, you go. Plus the soundtrack is badass. If any of you grew up in the 90s listening to this stuff, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and it should bring you back to your childhood. I could easily say the soundtrack here makes the movie. If that soundtrack wasn't in here, I think this would just be another paint-by-numbers Transformers summer blockbuster action film. But I found myself enjoying the majority of this ride. Dominique Fishback is here, and she's like the expert on ancient signs and doing research. I think she's like an archaeologist of some esteem. Her character is just here just because we need someone of intelligence to be like, oh no, I know what that marking is. But I wasn't really connected with her character, and her character just didn't seem to be excited by the whole thing going on, this little search for all of these things just in general. They have that moment in the warehouse where they're all like, what about you? Are you gonna come along? You have a destiny to perform. And I believe her response was, okay. I don't know, I just feel like you could put a little bit more oomph behind it. But this movie is marketed around the Maximals making their big screen debut, and I'm happy. I'm content. Well, I shouldn't say I'm content. I'm happy. I like this introduction. I want to see more of these characters, though. And there are Maximals that we have not met who are pretty big and prominent to the TV series. Rat Trap doesn't show up in here. Dinobot, even though he's technically a Predacon, he was part of the Maximal team, and I think, oh my god, he would be great in a live-action movie. Just seeing these characters, screw Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, we've seen them before many times. Let's do a Beast Wars movie. They do show up more here than the Dinobots in Age of Extinction, so be happy about that. In terms of them serving a purpose to the story, I mean, not really. The story, the conflict with the bad guy and Unicron starts with them, basically, but then we don't see them for a good 50 minutes to an hour, and then they show up, and I mean, it's not like they just, like, they needed them, like they had to be there. They were just kind of there. So in terms of this movie being called Rise of the Beast, I mean, it didn't really rise. There was only a handful of them, and I don't know. They're just there. They're just fighting. I don't know if you would call this movie a retcon, or maybe we're just going down a whole different route to where all the future Transformers films are going to be placed in the 90s. If that's the case, I'm totally all for it. There's a good 10 to 20 year chunk there of stuff we could see these characters do in this world before they end up finding Shia LaBeouf and doing all of their Michael Bay-isms. Transformers Rise of the Beast, I think it's a fun summer blockbuster. It's not the best. It's certainly not the worst of this franchise. It's towards the top, and I'm content. I'm okay. I'm okay with this. I want to see more. I want to see where this goes. I'm going to give Transformers Rise of the Beast 3.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I am above average.
So guys, if you've seen Transformers Rise of the Beast, what did you think about it? What is your ranking now of all of the Transformers proper films in the series? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you all the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.